Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is the beautiful, the talented, the lovely, hot smoking, as it says on her Twitter profile, smoking hot BBW web model that is Miss Jessica Jade. Had to get that right because it's very apropos and very fitting when it comes to you, my lovely friend. How are you, Jessica?
I'm doing really well. Yay, how are you?
I cannot complain. First and foremost, I love what I do, and I love what I do with this podcast because what's great about podcasting is we give a lot of people the platform to tell their story, whether it be from the adult entertainment industry, modeling, music, wrestling, whatever you guys hear on this show each and every week. I got to say, I love what I do, and getting to meet amazing people like yourself is always a pleasure and a privilege. So I will say thank you, first and foremost.
Yay, thank you for having me on. It's exciting.
Now, I got to say this about you because I've seen your OnlyFans. You do a lot of great work, and we'll encompass and talk about that in this conversation tonight. But I got to ask you, talk about getting into webcam modeling. What really interested you? Because first and foremost, we'll start off like this. You're a beautiful woman. You got that voluptuosity factor. So I ask you, how did the whole webcam modeling come into fruition for you?
Oh gosh. So I suppose it's funny because the whole spike thing of coronavirus, everyone seems to think that, everyone's jumped into it because of that. But it just happened to be at the start of last year that a couple of friends of ours, they were just mentioned at the start of COVID, they mentioned that, like, they've been going online and they're getting paid to have sex on cam. And I was like, what? Are you joking? Like, you can get paid to, like, and they're like, yeah, you have no idea. There was people, and I had no idea about campsites at all. So I was just like, okay, that sounds like fun. And me and my partner, we decided to jump on randomly one night, and then it sort of just took off from there. So it started with me and my partner just having a bit of fun, and then all of a sudden followers started loving Jessica, and then all of a sudden it was, now there you go. It is where it is now. I'm like almost 30,000 followers I think I've got on CB, and I'm like, it's just insane to me. It seems out of this world, but it's crazy and it's so much fun. So years and years and years ago, I used to be in I started as an escort, and then I got out of the industry completely and moved on into nursing, a complete different side of things. And then when I sort of heard about this, I was like, it's perfect for me. I've always been like fun, sexual, and hot, and so it just works really well, really, and I love it. It's a lot of fun.
That is a very interesting wide array of I'm gonna say of endeavors because okay, here I'm an escort, here I'm doing
Yeah,
OnlyFans, when this adult work. Oh, by the way, I'm getting into nursing. Dare I say, you
yeah.
give a whole new meaning to the term.
Oh, there's a
Like
lot
doctor.
more.
But that's a good thing though. It also shows your intelligence, and shows your wide array and everything that you're. Dare I say that you're like instead of the jack of all trades, saying you're like a Jill of all trades. You
Jill of
have
all
done.
trades.
But you gotta love
That's
that because now I'm curious here, just to follow up on that, like nursing, like how does that go? Because I mean, escort, we're talking about this, we're talking about that. Nursing, what interested you about nursing?
so funny. So I was a hairdresser. Here we go. I was a hairdresser, and I was in a bit of an abusive relationship. This is when I was, under, like, from about the age of 17 to 20. And when I left him, I decided that I needed a complete career change, and I moved in with some girls that I knew, and they were working at a place called Club X, and I don't know if you have them over there. They're like sort of, you can go in and peep shows. They're gross. They're like really gross places to go. Um, and they're like, come, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like I walked into this seedy little joint, and I'm like, oh, what is this? And started taking my clothes off in a little room, and people started paying like, whatever it is, $2 or something. And then you got half of that. And then it just sort of took off from there. And I then moved on to escorting, and then I sort of sat there and was looking at myself, and I suppose being young, I had like this opinion of, like people are looking down on me, and I was looking down on myself like I was a sex worker, and it wasn't like, it was not okay. So I decided that I wanted, to go get like, professional career, blah, 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 blah. So I went and did that. I left it and went and did that. And now I've built in my vanilla career, I've built myself up into a really good position. So I do sort of corporate nursing. It's not like, I'm not in a hospital. I do sort of workplace nursing and stuff like that. but I'm very high up in my position, and I work for an absolute asshole. And I now being on the other side, it just goes to show that grass isn't always greener. And I realize that, you know what? Now that I'm mature enough to realize that and have gone through the experiences, I'm loving the fact that I'm back in the sex industry. So
Well,
yeah.
I get it, and I look from a stance too. But what's also interesting about that is because, like you so eloquently put it there, when you're defined as like a sex worker or anything with the adult entertainment industry, it has that down upon look on you, which I'm gonna say right now is awful because I think with everybody and with their endeavors, kind of like if I can like equate it to something like if someone wants to be a janitor, right? Now, janitor is not one of the most best jobs, but it's a good paying job. I mean, you're cleaning waste, you're cleaning up schools and stuff. It may not be the best job for you, but it's a great job for other people, and it's a job. So, I mean, when you're looking at terms from nurses wise, and then what you're doing in the adult entertainment industry, what's great about it too is it also you get to show off, like we mentioned, the voluptuosity factor, which will also conclude with and go on with in the show. But what's great about it is too you get to show off who you are from an internal and external standpoint. I think that's very valid in the career path that you've chosen.
Definitely, 100%. And it's funny now, like it's definitely really awakening when you sort of come to, like, I'm 33, I'm not young, and when I was young and was doing it, it's funny how much I've changed and how much of a different perspective that I have on, life in general, really, and how, looking down upon something that is sex work, well, really, it's silly not to be in it because the money is amazing. And if you've got the confidence and you look amazing and you feel amazing, it doesn't even matter about what you look like, it's how you feel. And if it makes you feel good, then why aren't you doing it? And you're making other people feel good. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no, you're right on the right track there. And I look at it from a stance of like, yeah, if you're not loving what you're doing, then why are you doing it? I mean, it's very common, it's
100%.
very cliche, but it's very fitting when it comes to life. And I also look at it from a stance too, and I'm going to go back to this with you here because first and foremost, you're talking about your 33. You stop that right now because I'm 28 going on 29. So we're almost around the same age. So I said, I have this chat with my friend all the time, a fellow female friend, right? She's like, "Oh, I just turned 34. I'm getting older." I'm like, "Shut up. We're like almost around the same age. So stop it." So, well, you look great. That's why I just had to put that out there because age ain't nothing but a
Yeah,
number. You look awesome. You're welcome.
that's very true. I
But
think
I
it's more
also
about how you feel.
Exactly. And I also look at it from your standpoint. I'm going to say this right now. Man, we talk about the voluptuosity factor, and I got to keep harping on this because what I love about you is you look good, you feel good. And personally, I'm going to say this for myself. As a young man growing up, I've also always appreciated curvy women. And the reason why I put that out there, folks, because I've mentioned this before, growing up from a teenhood to adulthood, if you will, I'll be honest, a lot of the curvy girls looked my way. And I'll be honest with you, there were some guys, and even my best friend would look at me like I was nuts because there's a guy like the model types, you know what I'm saying? And I love all women to death, but it's just like, don't look at them like that. You know what I'm saying? We're individuals, we're people. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just me and what I'm instilled with, and just the overall love of the work of art that women are. So I understand, and I've seen you. You have a lot of great photos from a beautiful imagery standpoint. Your videos, like you have it, and dare I say, if you got it, flaunt it.
100%. It's funny because, I was asked a question in my camera room last night about when did my G cups arrive? And I was like, I honestly think that I was born with a B cup, so that's how I feel. But I think, in the last 10 years or something, I've gone from an E cup to a G cup and probably three dress sizes bigger, and I feel hotter now than what I did like 10 years ago. And I love my body, and I think that if you love your body, and there's always it's funny, people are like, oh, I couldn't be a cam model because I'm fat. I'm like, are you joking me? Like, it's not about how you look, like it's how you feel and if you love doing it. Like at the end of the day, if you are confident in yourself and you feel good about yourself, everyone's gorgeous. And like I was picked on in high school, or well, primary school more so, and a little bit of high school, and like but everyone always used to think I was hot anyway. And it's funny, like, the like that stereotype of, oh, you need to be this size or this size. Well, I'm telling you right now that I can say that there are a lot of models out there that are making a lot more money and a lot more fans than somebody that's a smaller size or that sits in that stereotype. And I don't understand how that. I'm just glad that this day and age that whole sort of uh, that sort of look upon people is changing, I think, now. Like I suppose you can buy magazines now that have BBW in them. Go back 20 years and there's no chance you'd find anybody even curvy in one, you know? Uh, so I just think that it's really a good time for women to feel like great about themselves, or anyone in particular, anyone, male, women, whatever you are, or any sort of anybody, them, they. I don't want to exclude anyone, but as long as you feel good about yourself, like that's all that matters. And there's always someone out there that's going to find you absolutely amazing and gorgeous. And as long as so you feel that about yourself, then you are going to attract a lot more people that feel that way about you too.
And first and foremost, I love your brutal honesty, and I think that goes a long way. And no, I truly mean that, because I also look at it from a stance, because you're correct in your sentiments. To make a pop culture reference, I'll show my nerdy self here. 2001, we're talking about Shallow Hell, Gwyneth Paltrow and Jack Black, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so here's the example I'm going with. People watch the scene with Tony Robbins and Jason Alexander where he's trying to get his friend back, and he's like, and Tony Robbins is like, who says they're ugly? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you've been hypnotized your total entire life because TV, movies, magazines, they paint you on how your women are supposed to look. Like that whole conversation, that everything that's encompassed in that scene is so true, because our perception is what we look from the external standpoint, but we don't look from the internal standpoint. And I think that's very eloquent even in today's age, so to speak.
Oh, 100%. One of the biggest things I've always, it's the same with everything when you look at it. I mean, life, I suppose, in general. I think one of my biggest things that I've always lived by is that you can only ever judge somebody. You can't, so when you see somebody do something wrong, you only see their actions, you never see their intention. But yet you judge yourself on your intention and not your actions. And like, it's really the same sort of thing, looking inside of somebody and understanding who they are, and like, getting to know that person brings out complete beauty in somebody, or complete ugliness. And it goes to show that, like, it really is who you are inside that matters more than anything.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what's great about it too is I've met a lot of people from an internal and external standpoint. I think what I've always taken with me, and we talked about this last night in Messenger, we were talking about beauty, strength, and dominance. I've always instilled that mindset of beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. Now, I've had a whole female household, mostly in my household. My aunt, my grandmother, my mother. And my mother and my grandmother are two of the biggest influences, because, they instilled that respect and my love for women. And I really just appreciate women for the work of art that they are. That's always what I'm about. I like to instill that message on people, because I think in this day and age, because like, unfortunately, I look at it like this, because here in the States, and I'll say this to equate to what we've seen in the States and from an international standpoint as well, here in the States, like when Ashley Graham, who was a pioneer in a way of an icon for plus size models, right? One of the most beautiful plus size models out there. You look at Nia Jax, The Rock's cousin, who's on WWE now, right? When you look at the staple of Sports Illustrating putting Ashley Graham on Sports Illustrated, now people's minds are like, what are they doing? They're putting a plus size model here. This is not how Sports Illustrated is. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, first of all, we have a lot more there, and excuse my language, we got a lot more shit to worry about in this country than friggin' Ashley Graham being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And here's the thing. My best friend, and I love him to death, still my best friend today, but I got to tell you something. Sometimes you just want to slap your friend because they say some of the dumbest stuff, and they're just, ugh, you just want to give them a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But I digress.
totally.
But I digress. It's one of those things where he's like, can you believe that this girl's on the cover of Sports Illustrated? And I'm like, why? What's the problem with it? And then he's like, oh my God, like, this is not what we portray Sports Illustrated. She's curvy, she's a big girl. I'm like, so what? You know what I'm saying? It's different. It also puts people's eyes on the product, and it also gives you a different perspective. Dare I say, an alternative perspective that you never thought you had. You know what I'm saying? Dare I say, opening and expanding the horizons, if that makes sense.
100%, definitely 100%. It's funny because, a lot of the I find that even a lot of customers that come into my room and that have been there since, I've been doing this, I've been camming for a year, and a lot of people that are in there aren't. I think there was a comment made the other night saying like, I don't look up BBW. It's not my section. It was just randomly that I came across you, and you happened to be on like the front page. He's like, normally I wouldn't go into a room with BBW, but you are my favorite. Like, you are one of my favorites. It, like, outstanding. And I'm like, it just goes to show that it doesn't matter what somebody looks like sometimes. It's about them, their personality, who they are, how they portray themselves. I do have sex appeal. I know that. So I've always had that, I think, since I was a little girl. But I like it doesn't matter. Like I just don't understand. And I think that people need to open their eyes and be like, what is wrong with you? I'm sorry, but if I look at somebody wearing it like that's curvy over somebody that has no shape at all, I'm like, ooh, the curves like do it for me 100%. Like how can you not find that curvy woman is amazing? I just yeah. But everyone's got their things. Everyone's amazing. And I just think that everyone's got to just lighten up.
It's pretty much like take a chill pill, just light up. And that's the thing, because people,
Totally.
they get bowed up over the most ridiculous stuff. And I look at it from a stance of, first and foremost, you also so eloquently put it, because if you have a girl with curves and against a girl, and I don't mean to say this, but it's just like there's a lot of beautiful skinny girls, but if there's no shape and form to them, it's just like, okay. But then you see, again, going back to the voluptuous factor of the curvy woman, it's like, okay, there's
Yeah.
something to it. And also the
Yeah.
fact that you said there's the sex appeal. So I mean, you're pretty much, I got to say, that swag was on 100 there, Miss Jessica Jade. I see you there. Real deal sex appeal. You got that sex appeal. I like your swag on that. But no,
Yeah.
it's one of but no, it's one of those things with, like you mentioned, the BBW category. Like the first time I've ever heard that term, right, BBW, and it's so funny because obviously we see it defined in the adult industry and porn as a whole. But I also look at it from a stance of the first time, actually, one of the reasons I heard it, you remember, yeah, obviously, Family Matters, Urkel, Steve Urkel people. Did I do that? Steve
Yeah.
Urkel.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah. Yep.
Family
Yep.
Matters.
Yep.
Okay. So one of the episodes actually featured the late great Donna Summer, Donna Summer,
Yes.
and
Yep.
she plays his aunt. And here's the thing: she goes into the transformation chamber and gets skinny, looking like Donna Summer because her complexion, and she wanted to press the reverend at the church or what have you. And the reverend at the church, no, this is a legit episode. The guy at the church who was interested in her, they both had that interest, right? And she was worried that she wouldn't like him, and he goes, of course I like you. I love BBWs, and the BBW word is used on Family Matters, and that. So we even see it in popular culture.
There you go. Yeah. So it's one of those things. Like I was sort of like, oh, I don't like the term big.
Huh?
So like I've never really liked the term big. Like you can call me fat, that's fine. Like I'm fat ass bitch, that's fine. But big, I always feel like okay because I'm 5'8", so I'm not short. So like it's not like so I don't know what that is. Like, do you go by feet over there? I don't even know
Okay,
what
well,
metric that is.
all
I've
right.
got no idea.
No, you're fine. I'll put it from the state term. Okay, since you're talking about fat ass bitch and something with the fat, I could also add the ph to it. That's kind of like the
Yes,
good version of that, like the slang. So we can add
yeah.
that, or the term that goes around here is the pog, the PAWG, the fat ass.
Oh yeah, oh, God, that I don't like that word.
Okay,
always,
so
I always feel like it's like I don't know a dog's paw for some reason.
see, all right. See,
I
that
don't
is a
know
great
why.
comparison. No, that's a great
I,
comparison because if you take the G off, it's like, okay, what are we talking about? The paw of an animal? That's a great
yeah,
analogy. Look at it.
that's all I see when I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And also I don't have like the one thing that I do need to work on or that I would change about myself is that I'd like to have a fatter ass. Like my ass is very flat at the top. It just sort of is like flat and then it looks good on some camera angles, but like if you see it on the wrong angle, trust me, no one's gonna want to look at that ass. Oh wow, that's a lie. Lots of people will still want to look at that ass, but I don't want to look at it more so.
So,
So yeah, I've always been funny to say that, like, I've got an ass or something because I'm like, oh, I don't know, do I? But people love my ass, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I do, but it's just that it's flat at the top. So anyway, I digress completely onto my ass. I want to talk about that.
first, first off, my love, I've seen the videos, I've seen the photos. Your bottom is fine. I'm gonna put it out there. Your butt is
Oh,
fine,
thank you
man.
so
It's
much.
Oh, you're welcome. No, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. As a man, there's some men that are boob breast men. Some men are ass men. You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest with you. I like a girl with some legs. I like a girl with everything to me. I've just if you got a nice leg, you got a nice butt, you got nice what have you. There's certain traits and there's, dare I say, certain attributes, if you will, that a lot of guys like. And I think everything that you encompass with your videos, whether it be the butt or what have you with the OnlyFans, and I think that's what's great about OnlyFans, besides, of course, the adult haven where there could be some porn scenes and sex scenes, and there also can be modeling scenes and just being naked as a whole. There's something for everybody with OnlyFans I've always enjoyed because it shows everybody's different uniqueness and preferences, and it's really a fun community for a lot of people.
Yeah, totally, definitely. Yeah, it's funny, but like I said, it's camera angle for sure. But no, it is exactly right, and it's funny how yeah, it's always going to be the way. People have got things that they like about guys or girls, or whatever it is that you look for, um, and it's just natural to like humanly be attracted to something or some, like there's a lot of guys that are boob guys, there's a lot of guys that are ass guys, there's a lot of guys that are belly girls. Hang on a minute, let's just bring into the feet. You know what I mean? Like that just goes to show you that it can be anything. I've had somebody tell me that I have nice eyebrows, that I've got nice nostrils. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, all right, if that's what you want, that's fine. Like, awesome. It's just funny that like, yeah, people, or a nice chin, nice cheekbones, and coming from a guy saying that, it always is like, oh my God, because all those things that, I worry, or not worried, like worry about now. I don't really worry about anything now. But when, as I was growing up, it's like all those little things where you're like, oh no, is my cheekbones looking great? Or do I have enough like this? And it just goes to show that, yes, there is someone out there that may notice it and that may look at you and think, oh, yes, your cheekbones look amazing. But they're not going to say it. And like, they will say it when they're on cam because they were just typing in a room, which is awesome. And they can be free to be whoever they want, which is why as well, that's another part of why I love camming. But yeah, it's just funny how like, yeah, there's always something out there for everyone, I think.
Now, here's the thing that got me from everything you described, because again, very accurate in your sentiments, Jessica. But okay, I can understand the eyebrow portion because a lot of us guys and girls, we like to get our brows waxed, we like to get our eyebrows on fleek, if you will. But nostrils, interested in the nostrils? You have nice nostrils.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the nostrils was a bit of that was an interesting one. I was like, and my nostrils are not asymmetric. My nostrils, I have like one bigger nostril than the other, and like when I do look at them, I'm like, how did you find that attractive? I'm like, okay, but it is what it is. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't like, yeah. There was also, I think I seen a guy that was asking for. I'm just trying to think. What did you know about underarm? You know, like how you make that fake farting noise with your underarms?
Yes, yes.
So, like, that was his fetish. Fetish was like, underarm farts. Like, and like, I just was like, wow, okay. I can't do one. I'm literally like, sitting here, I'm trying to do an underarm fart, but I can't do it. And, like, you just never know what somebody likes and what they don't like. And and I think, growing up with that whole like, stereotypes of, oh, this woman's hot, that woman's hot, this is okay, this is not, this is, like I think what's it called it? If you sorry. I just lost where I was completely now. The what was I saying? Sorry, my screen just got taken over on my laptop, so I've just like completely lost what I'm
I'll
doing.
go back to it. No worries. You were talking about the armpit fart and how
Oh,
everybody
that's
has their.
right. Yeah. So, that's right. Yeah. So I was saying that, I think that it doesn't matter, you just don't know. And I think that a lot of people, like, as they're growing up, they don't want to say what it is or what it is that they, they like, because there's so many stereotypes put in place, this is what you should like, or this is what you should find attractive, or this is this and that. And then I think now that it's opened up the culture of that people can say, hey, I like this, and hey, this is what I'm attracted to. And now there's all these different women out there and all these different categories out there that you can see, and you're like, oh my God. And I think that's where amateur porn has just become like massive, and a cam girl like side of it is even bigger. My headphone just fell out, so I hope you can still hear me.
Okay,
um yeah, so like, camming is like even like bigger, because it's like your dream girl that you fantasized about your whole life you could find on a camming site, and then you can pay her to do whatever you want. Like, that's just insane, and you can interact with her like that. Just like, that's another level.
Well, I think in your case, and this is why I also like you too, besides like we were talking about your beauty and everything that's encompassed with your overall being, I think, and I'll say this with the utmost sincerity respect, you got the professional side of you, which you're always very engaging with your fans. And I think that's also very attractive to your clientele because it really showcases your overall being and everything that goes into the overall package that is you, Jessica.
Yes, thank you. I think, and that's a massive part of it. Like, having a personality is huge, and that's where you've really got to love what you're doing or not. And if you don't love what you're doing, then don't do it, because you're not just there to get somebody off, or you're not just there to like finger yourself on camera. I've got people that will come into my room. Am I allowed to swear in this segment? Just so I
Yeah, yeah,
know.
you can. Well, first and
Okay,
foremost,
good.
hold on before you
Thank
speak. I don't
God,
know
because because I've been
before you
holding back, lots of
before
different words. But anyway,
oh, before you go, I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to say I was laughing as you were said that. You could. We're both adults. You can say whatever you want. It's okay. Go ahead. You can curse.
okay, good, good, excellent. But like, like I'll have people come in my room that like, just come in just for a chat, and then the second a show will start, or like, someone's tipped me to do something, they leave. And they go, and then they come back like afterwards and then start chatting again. Like they're not there because some people aren't there because they want to see me naked or want to see me do something. They want to just actually engage with me, and I obviously can talk a lot, so it's like not hard for me to keep that going. But it's just, yeah, it's one of those things. You've really got to love what you're doing, or don't do it at all. And I see a lot of chicks that I suppose that I've met through Twitter. Oh my god, I'm just making a mess with, like, I've got dildos falling over everywhere. Just a normal thing in my room. So I think I've seen a lot of girls that I've met through Twitter and things like that that have they've tried camming randomly now for the first time, and then they give it like a couple of hours or even an hour, and then they're like, oh, no one came in and tipped me, no one did this, no one did that. I'm like, oh, it takes a long time for somebody to want to come and tip you. Like, are you engaging with you? Are you saying hello? Well, they didn't give me a tip because, and I'm like, well, talk to someone, say hello. Like, if you don't have the personality for it, then I don't think that you should really be doing it.
Well, I also look at it from a stance like you do a lot of great work with Chatterbait as well, and Chatterbait's a big platform for everybody to talk and cam and everything on that front. So I mean, you have a lot of accessible sites to engage in your personality with.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah. So I love, like, I love being on Chatterbait, and I love my OnlyFans, which is amazing as well. It's a lot of, and it's not, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just easy work. It's like, no, it's not. Do you know how hard it is to continuously be creating content as well as working full time? And like, and making sure that you're getting something out there that you're happy with and that everybody else is going to be happy with, and making sure that you're engaging with people. And you do notice that when, like, if you stop, like, like there's been like a time where like I was very, very busy, as I said, like I still work full time, like as a nurse. And when like COVID is around, obviously it's flat out for me. But there was a week and a half or something that I took off, and I think I dropped like fans. I think I ended up dropping like maybe 10 or 15 fans in like that week. And it was just like, wow, isn't that funny how, like, it just goes to show you your engagement really makes a massive difference. And you really got to be active and really got to work for it and work hard at it, and really show people that you're interested in what you're doing, and not just like sending around and pick and being like, hey, give me this money. Because it doesn't work like that.
I think what's great about it, like you so eloquently put it again to keep using that word, but you're on point with everything you're saying, because I also look at it from a stance, whether you're doing whatever endeavor, take podcasting, for example, you have to be on the grind, you have to be passionate each and every week or put out content or every day, however your schedule entails. But it's one of those things, whatever job, whatever endeavor that you do, you have to put the work and you have to put the passion, you have to have the grit to it as well, because we talked about your passionate side as well, Jessica, with everything that you do content wise, but you also have that grit and determination to just want to make it well for everybody and showcase yourself in the limelight of lights.
100%. You've really got to put yourself into it 100%. And I think that's like, it's important in anything you do in life. Like, if you don't give it a 100%, you're not going to get 100% out of it. And people that you'll meet people in life that you see that don't do anything, that just they get through life without doing any hard work or working for anything, and they just keep getting things handed to them. But at the end of the day, like, what is that? They've got no experiences in things, or learn that learning curve of being able to work hard for something and feel that great achievement of when it actually does work out and you gain something from it. That's my biggest thing about this whole thing, is that I've come back into it now, being at a mature age of, like, I look at sex work as like one of the highest industries there is, and it always has been. Sex sells forever. It's always been the way. But you know, going back to when I was young and I was doing it, and how I looked down upon myself and thought that everybody else was, and then being on the other side of it and realizing that no, you know what, like having a corporate career is definitely not as good as what I've got now. Um, yeah, like you realize that it's the grass isn't greener, and you've just got to work hard at it and you'll get somewhere, and the achievements that you can get from it is amazing. But yeah, you feel great about yourself as well.
I also look at it from a stance like, again, I'm 28 going on 29 now. I remember as a teenager, and again, this is just as a young male looking for females and just, play in the field, if you will, Jessica. But one of the things, I'll be honest with you, the funniest thing, and I say it's funny, but it was actually very flattering. It was cool because at the time, like, I was 19 years old, and one of the girls that was interested in me was like 26. And I'm like, I feel like this is cool because, she's into a younger man, but I'm also thinking to myself, I don't know how to react to this. This is like the first time for me. It's also but no, I also look at it from a stance as I'm 28 now, and you get some girls that interested you that are in their 30s or maybe like in their early 20s. It's one of those things where we were talking about age doesn't matter, but it's just amazing just to see the level of people that you can inspire, encourage, and also the effect and dare I say the attraction you can have on people just by being yourself. And that's what I think I also like about you, because I mentioned that you were brutally honest earlier in the show, Jessica. I think you, by being the way you are, not just attracts to the clientele, but people, whether it be to relationships, friendships. We have that ability as people. We have that power to do a lot of good in this world. We just have to know how to use that power. So we all have that heart, we have that mind, we have that soul, and it shows with how we conduct ourselves in an everyday life.
Oh, 100%. Exactly right. And I think that, like I've got people that will come in and they'll take me like on Chatterbait, they'll take me private, and they'll sit in the room for an hour or so in a private session. They don't want me to get naked. They don't want me to do a private show for them. They just want me to chat to them like a therapist in a way. And I remember this used to happen when I was escorting. Guys used to come, and I used to have guys that were like, that would book me for the night, and we'd just sit there and talk. And they were married, and it's not about the sex. It wasn't about that. It was that they were lacking something else in their life, that, that companionship. And obviously being someone that can talk and that can get along with anyone. And I am brutally honest. It's a downfall sometimes, but at the end of the day, you've got to be you. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I hate to live my life being fake and trying to live up to somebody's expectations, because I did that for a long time. And now that I don't, it's very, it's, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, you know what I mean.
I
Um,
understand. I mean, and from just that onto your side, I don't mean to cut you off, but god dang, man, you're absolutely right. You want to live to some expectations, someone's, I guess that high pedestal, if you will. And I think what's amazing about that at the end of the day is, I'll be honest with you, and I hear you talking about, the companionship with married men, and it's not all about the sex. I'll be honest with you, the pop culture nerd's coming out of me, Jessica. So you were like Pretty Woman. It's like Richard Gere, Julie Roberts, and Pretty Woman.
exactly. There you go. Exactly right. Yes, it is that companionship. People, everybody needs companionship, and there are a lot of people that are, like I find, and what I think is such a great platform about any camming site, but definitely Chatterbait, because obviously I work for them, so yay. Um, I would say that, like it gives a platform for people that, I suppose as well, like guys that maybe, or girls, whoever, that don't have that confidence to talk to somebody, or don't have that, that confidence to talk to a girl or say something, and behind, like a keyboard warrior, like, that you see on, people being like horrible to people on the internet, you always find that those people that are sitting there are really lonely, and they're people that have nothing going on in their lives, and that's the only way that they can engage with people. And that this gives like a different platform for people that, like, can actually engage with a girl, have a conversation. And I think if you've got the right person that's on the other end of the screen that's going to be brutally honest with you and have a conversation with you and tell you exactly what they think and how a real girl, I suppose, would think, well, me as a real girl would think anyway, I think it gives them more confidence outside to be able to maybe say hey to the girl that they like, or something like that as well. I don't know. I hope that that's something that is helping people, because, yeah, it's great.
It,
Also, there's the part of that I get to come on cam. But anyway.
oh, of course. First and foremost, I look at it from a stance because No, it's one of those things where it's interesting because like you were talking about the trolls and keyboard warriors, and that's really what it's a downer for people. But I mean, that's what's great about social media. You have that block button, but it's just like there's always those idiots, and I never understood it. And we've seen it from bullying and cyberbullying, everything that goes that encompasses it. And I'm sure like you've experienced some of this in your room because somebody comes in to troll on everything, and they just like to say mean crap. It's just insecurities, loneliness, what have you. But it's those people at the end of the day. Just, I mean, there's always somebody there. Dare I say, every one bad apple spoils a whole bunch. But it's just like that type of negativity, even in today's world, not just encompassing with people. People are involved, but just in today's world, man, there's a lot of stuff that negativity that does not need to be breeded. And I think that stuff is one of the downers and the downfalls of society, also within just everybody's work. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure you've also experienced this. I'm sure some with your cam shows.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Like, there's been a couple of times I think, like, somebody has come in and maybe said something or whatever. But I see, I love this. I love it when somebody says something negative or when somebody has like, like a, or a horrible comment to say. I think I have to say, I have been pretty lucky that I haven't, I haven't really experienced it like I've seen some of the girls and spoken to some of the girls that have experienced it like to a horrible extent. But I think like, when this happens, I'm always like, but you know what, like you spent the time to come in here and chat to me. Like you took time out of your day to come into my room and type that. Like I love that. I love the fact that you needed to do that because it meant that like, what you were thinking about me. At the end of the day, I'm going to forget about you the second you've been blocked or silenced or, or I've removed you or I've had my little say and like, given you a kiss. Like if somebody says something negative on my Twitter or something like that, I always reply with like my link to my OnlyFans and I'm like, hey baby, you want to see more? Wow, thank you. Like, and like that's it. Like I'm just like, like as if it's like an automatic message, to them or something like and I'm just like, like what, like you took the time out of your day to comment. Like I and I love that. Like I'm just sort of like you had to think about me that much and I was in your brain that much that you needed to do that and I love that.
Well, first
So
and
I know
foremost,
it's sort of
well, you have
evil,
that
but
appeal on. Well, you have that appeal on people, again, people's brains with how you act, and I mean that in the most sincerity, respect way because of your sexiness and everything that encompasses you. But I also look at it, but I also look at it from a stance, Jessica. And I'm going to say this right now because you were talking about it, and we're going to talk about this. Coming on cam, that's one of the best things, and I could tell as someone with your work and everything that you do, like coming is one of the best things. And I'll be honest with you, as we're teenagers, and I'll be honest, like again, as a 28-year-old male, and as we get older in life, and you look down upon it, and as you're young, you're shy, and just like but as you get older, it's just like dare I say, your sexual adaptation or your sexual appetite just increases, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna put it all out there. What we like.
yeah, definitely. And this is where like, it comes into play that me being the age that I am now is so much better than what I was, because for years, like when we'll bring it back to like when I said that I was in that abusive relationship, to begin with, like I never had sex to please myself. It was always to please somebody else. I never really enjoyed it. I never understood why people like ranted on about sex and how like amazing it was. And even escorting, it was to please somebody else. It was never to please myself. And I never really, and then years went by where I was never really, it was always like sex was like, to please someone else, not please myself. And I think it's only been since I've been with my partner now, we've been together for 8 years, and that I've sort of like opened up into like it's all about me. And that's because he's a very submissive type, and like, so that brought in the whole, like, I think people look at me, it's funny because people come in my room and expect that I'm dom, like dommy, and I'm like, I am, but I'm not. Like I can be. I'm definitely very much a switch because I love to be dominated. I love the thought of being dominated, but I love also dominating my partner. I love that. I love the fact that he gets off on it. And that's still now, I think, my biggest sort of guilty pleasure is the fact that somebody's getting off on me. And that's what turns me on. So being, on cam and now knowing what I like and what I don't like, I can literally do what I like and what I don't like. And also people are going to be coming for me. So really, it's a win-win situation. How am I going to lose there?
And
So I've really found my sexuality being like, like older and more mature, and yeah, and I don't think that I would have found all that unless I'd been through what I've gone through, and come out now and been doing this, because yeah, it's good.
and I look at it from a stance you can flip the switch on, Dom and the submissive type, because a lot of people like that. I'll be honest with you. I remember oh my God, this was probably like preteen when they had True Life. For those that remember that on MTV, I'm a dominatrix, and they talked about the world of dominatrix and everything that goes into it. I'm like, I'll be honest with you, this is a lot for a 12-year-old to take in, but at the same time, it's very interesting. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I've gotten to talk to a lot of people that have done such work with this podcast and with the shows. And again, we talked about, giving people the platform, tell their story. It's very interesting that just goes what that goes into it, and everybody's the mindset of just like that overall foreplay, if you will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. So I think it was only at this, like at well, how all of this, or how all of that sort of happened with I didn't really know like anything about like I suppose like BDSM at all, until I started with my partner, and I was going out with him, and then I've like seen what porn he liked to look at, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I was in shock. Like, what the fuck is this? And then I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, like, I started getting into it, and so I started, like, I think a very important thing to ask any partner that you're going to be with for a very long time, or that you are starting out a relationship with, is finding out exactly what porn they like to watch. Because if you know what porn they like to watch, then you know exactly what they like in the bedroom, and that is that. Like, that is their ultimate fantasy. And if you can create that, then you are then extremely satisfied. Because if you're creating somebody else's, this is my personal opinion, if you're creating somebody else's ultimate fantasy, then you are like, there is no more power play than that, and making you feel awesome about yourself, for me. And so when I found out all of that, I was like, oh, okay. And then I literally started just researching, looking into everything, and now I know a lot more about it than he does. And like, it's just funny how like, yeah, but I giggle obviously a lot, and I find that like to be like a real like dom and like be really hard, like I'm just like in my head, oh my fucking God, do I sound like stupid? What am I saying? Like, oh my God, did I just say the right thing? Like, I have like this little voice in my head that's my anxiety going, what the fuck are you doing? You sound like an idiot. Stop it. Like, it's funny, like, sometimes, yeah, I don't know. It's just bizarre. Like, and then I'll just start laughing halfway through. Like, I'm just like, okay, stop, bring yourself back to it. You're a bitch. Remember that. Like, it's just funny how I'm good at it, but also can be like, sometimes I need somebody to be on the other end going, yep, no, you've got this. Yeah, like, all right, you're doing a really good job. And I'm like, okay, great, excellent, we'll keep going. Oh God, it's like micromanaging me while I'm doing it. Oh goodness.
I like the fact that it's just like, you start off finding out your partner and what porn he likes, and then you're just like, what the fuck is this? I think that's the best segue on how you try to find out what your partner likes with just the porn ass. What the fuck is this?
Totally, yeah. Because otherwise, like, what do you know? Like, and I say that because, well, okay, look, I feel I feel extremely sorry for any female that listens to my bullshit that I randomly say, and I say this, and then all of a sudden they go and ask their partner what porn they like, and it is completely not them. But if it is them, it's good. It it works out well. But if all of a sudden I found out that my partner was looking at porn that of girls that had no boobs, like like that was the porn he liked, and maybe like a completely different race to me, and I'm like, well, I can't live up to that. Like, I can put as much fake tan on as possible and try and take my boobs up, but it's not going to happen. So don't go out there doing that, because you're just going to look fucking ridiculous. But like, yeah, I think just having some sort of idea, and this is where like BDSM is like the easiest one if you have a partner that loves like either dominating or being dominated. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's not about the look. It's about the play that you do. So yes, you can put on a bit of latex or something shiny, and then it's just the way that you are with them, and that's what portrays being a dom or not, really. And so, helpful if you have big boobs and they like smoking and you do both of those things too. But, get an e-cigarette, I don't know. And put some fake boobs on or something. I don't know, put some socks in your bra. But, like, don't worry about the look of things. It's that's what's awesome about, like, being like, doing the dominatrix bit and then not is they're two worlds that are more so it's a mindset and a power play, not a not so much the look, if that makes sense. And
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, I look from a stance like, okay, like we were talking about, like, your man and your partner and what porn they're into, right? Like, I'll be honest with you, like some of the most basic stuff, and here in the States, one of the most popular sites is Naughty America. And I remember as like a 13 or 14-year-old kid, and I discovered this, and I don't even know if this site still exists. There was a site called girlshuntinggirls.com. And for those that don't know, that site's premise was it was a scene two or three girls and they're in a van and then they pick up a girl just walking or whatever, and then here's a one-on-one or a three-way scene on the website. Okay, it was very
yeah,
straight to the point. It was very straight to the point, but then you get like Naughty America. It has like, my first sex teacher, my friend's hot mom, all these basic sites which are very cool. But then as you get older, you expand the horizon. It's all about the storytelling. And I mean, when you're
yeah,
when you're watching Cinemax at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's great to see the stars. And I'll be honest with you, my pet peeve, because I'll be honest with you, I did it, and I know a lot of people do it as well. When you would watch porn at like 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like, okay, maybe I've seen this one, or maybe I've seen this actress in the same one. It's like, can we just freshen up, give me some new people? And I love the people in it. It's like, I know that's probably one of the most
So
littlest of pet
funny that
peeves.
you say that, because one of my things is, like, I always say, like, when you're watching porn, like say you were just watching, I don't know, like some porn site randomly, and like, like you see it and the title is, like, I don't know, like daddy does daughter, or like, or daddy does stepdaughter. I'm like, you know what, like literally you could have the exact same porno and name it
Yep.
daddy does daughter, daddy does stepdaughter, uncle does like niece, uncle does this, and then it will be brother does, like you can name it whatever you like, as long as there are two people in there that, like, equivalent to those names. So you can see the same porno on another site, but yet it's now, oh, uncle blah 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 does, niece, and you're like, what the fuck, this is the same porno.
It is. And then the thing too is you also have these niche sites. Like, I'll be honest with you, one in the States, I don't know if you've heard of this one, Jessica, but we used to have Big Sausage Pizza. And Big Sausage Pizza was they had a cutout in the pizza. Oh, we're delivering a pizza. Look what the sausage is in the middle. And I think you know where we're going with this.
Oh, that's a big pepperoni.
Yes. Hey,
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Yeah.
we had the naughty offices. We had the My Naughty Latin Maids. I know I'm bringing back a lot to people's memories here with these
I'm
nostalgia.
like, I got no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, these are new sites, but a lot of people, those are the big ones in the States. And I mean, we had Cat
Oh
House the
yeah.
series. Yeah, we had Cat House the series on HBO. Do you remember what are you familiar with Cat House the series?
No.
Okay, so the guy who ran the Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas, his name was Dennis. He passed away, so it was just like the call girls. It was like escorts, and it was them having sex with their clientele. And he had this big bunny ranch. It was called Cat House the series, and it showed the ongoings of escorts and everybody that lived at the Bunny Ranch, the Cat House the series.
Wow, there you go. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Well, I got. You know what I'll do after we're done with this interview? I'll send you the. There's some clips out there that are still leaking, and I'm so happy because those are like retro things, and it takes me back to my teen years. So I will send you. I will send you the link to that after we're done with the show.
Definitely, please do.
Well, it's funny too because like one of the big things, like from an early stance of what we see now today, like there's a lot of porn parodies of things in popular culture, right? Like the first ever one that I saw was Spider Babe, which was the parody of Spider Man, which came out like the early 2000s, right? So the premise was instead of like Toby Maguire, like in the movie, it's a girl that gets bit by the spider, but she's saving people and then having sex with the people that she
Of
has.
course.
Yeah, yes, and you know what it is? There's a lot of girl on girl scenes. There's a guy on girl, but what's interesting about it too is I think they kind of, oh my god, like they kind of like re-emphasize the scene where Toby Maguire comes down and kisses Kirsten Dunst, and the
Yeah.
rain's down. They do that, but then it just gets more, dare I say, wetter from the rain. The rain's really falling down. So I mean, it's that adaptation with it.
Yeah, it's funny that you say. I think the first one that I ever said, oh, what was it? Pirates. Oh, what was it? Pirates of the Caribbean, I think.
Yes,
And
yes,
it,
you've done. Yeah.
yeah, and it starred Jesse Jane, and And that was probably the first one that I've ever seen. And I had the DVD. I think I got it given to me at some sexpo or something somewhere. I can't remember. But yeah, there you go. And that was just like, wow, okay, cool. A whole heap of like hot chicks that are pirates and like I don't know, they're all fucking on a boat.
It's like score, you know what I'm saying? And even the funniest thing, and I've said this going with like my education, right? So seventh grade health class, I had this teacher, her name was Mrs. Gray. Now, when we were talking about like the reproductive system and everything, I'll be honest with you, people, she put the emphasis on the word. So as she would explain, as we do, with sex and everything that goes into health class, right? She would explain, the penis goes into the vagina. She put the emphasis on the penis. And I'm like, okay, Mrs. Gray, I see where this is going. As a 13-year-old, I'm like, okay, we're learning. But I'm like, there's some underlying undertones here about when she says that word penis. I see how it is. I see how it is.
Are you sure? Or are you just like a 13-year-old horny boy, like being like, yes, she's saying penis really loud?
Might be a little bit of that. Might be a little bit of both. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. You caught me. You caught me.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh God. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The school that I went to on Long Island, what's interesting is too, like a lot of the teachers, like all the guys have the hots for the teachers and stuff. Dare I say, hot for teacher, Van Halen, hello. So it's one of those things. Like when I was a senior, I had this applied chemistry teacher. She was my chemistry teacher, right? Her name was Miss Carpenito. And let me tell you, some people, she had like a rose tattoo like on her ankle, and oh my God, when she would wear like a dress and that. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes, I mean, I'm such a klutz. Emphasis on the air quotations on the klutz. Sometimes, I may have dropped my pencil or a pen just to see as she was walking by the desk. You know what happens? So
Yeah, I really feel like now I'm really painting the picture, and I don't think that the teacher was saying penis in like a.
I know. Yes, I know. Hey, man, there can
Oh,
be
it's hilarious. I love it.
yeah. You never know about the underlying undertones, man. That's all I'm saying.
You
Look out.
don't, you don't, you don't. She may have not have even known that she was saying it, but she's like, yeah, penis. And you're like, okay.
See how it is. See how it is.
Oh gosh, it's hilarious.
Well, that's the thing. When you develop that like sexual humor as you get older, I'll be honest with you, you sound, and I've always made that comparison. It's like you sound like a kid giggling in health class. Like she said penis.
I
She said
know. I know. And this is where, can you imagine me trying to call somebody you dirty little slut, you dirty little slut? And then I'm like, oh,
oh
yeah,
my
that doesn't sound right. And then I start giggling afterwards. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, that's the thing. We have go back to our prepubescent minds, if you will, prepubescent minds during our teenage years, like we're in health class learning about all this stuff. It kind of
It's
reminds me.
so funny.
Okay, it is like we had a movie here, 17 again. It was with Tia and Tamara Mari, who were on Sister Sister. There's one scene that they actually cut out because when it was on the Disney Channel, there's a scene where they're in health class and they're learning about condoms and putting on the condom, and they actually deleted that scene from Disney because hello, we don't want like 8-year-olds watching about this. So
Just like, oh, goodness. Learning how to put a condom on a banana. Yeah.
I know, right? But it's one of those things where it's just yes, and I think that's what's great about us or with our sexual adaptation, everything over the years. Like you were talking about, like there's so many expos, there's award shows in the adult field. But what's great too is from the camming side of things, we get a lot of great models like yourself doing the damn thing, and I think that adds a lot of experience, it adds a lot of content, a lot of great variety for people that are into the cam scene.
Oh, completely. I think it's an amazing. Like if I'd have known that this existed beforehand, before our friends told us about it, like I honestly think that I would have been addicted to it, like gambling. Like, oh my gosh, I would have found like cam models that I was obsessed with, like, and started a long time ago. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting it's an interesting field. Like camming is different to porn, like because we don't know what we're doing. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I don't know, like what I'm doing most of the time on cam. But I give it my best shot, and then if it looks hot, it looks hot. If it doesn't, oh, you can leave my room, whatever you want. Like I don't care. But I'm free to be myself, and it's definitely, and it gives such a wide variety, like of people. Like there's so many different people and so many different categories and so much out there that people love and get to watch, and it's just a lot of fun. Like it really is a lot of fun, and that's just it. Like yeah, again, like you enjoying what you're doing, and you've got to love what you do, otherwise what's the point in doing it? Life's too short. It'll be over before we know it. So fuck it. Just have fun.
Exactly. And here's the funny part about this. I have a couple final things I will say, but first and foremost, before we get to that, I'm going to say this right now. The overture is here, Miss Jessica Jade. Anytime you want to come back on the show for round two, I'd be happy to have you. I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Yay! Thank you. I would be more than happy to come back on.
Thank you. Now I got to say this. Here's what's the funny part of like enjoying what you're doing because I'll segue with this. So when I got into podcasting, right, like I love music, I like professional wrestling, I love pop culture, as you could tell from this with my corny jokes and my corny nerdiness of movies. But what's great about it too is I like to encompass and capture that because people can relate to the nostalgia feel. But when I started interviewing people in the adult entertainment industry and modeling industry and camming as well, like I do with yourself, Jessica, I had a buddy of mine who I've known since high school. He's a fellow podcaster. Right? He goes, Mike, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, what? How do you talk to people in the adult industry? I'm like every other person I would talk to, with respect and professionalism and the cordialness and everything that goes into it. I'm like, they're at the end of the day, like we're all people here, man. Just because we do certain endeavors and stuff doesn't mean at the end of the day we're not all people. So yeah, some people do get weirded out, like you talked about being put down upon. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, we're out making money. We're out doing the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? We're people at the end of the day, if that makes sense.
Totally. And it's funny just because just on that topic, just prior to me coming on here, I was picking up, like my cat had spewed in the hallway. And here I am, like picking up this cat spew in the hallway, just being like, like I'm just a normal person, normal life. I have a cat that spews. I have a partner out there. I cook dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like I still have to wash my clothes. I still go to work every day in a normal vanilla job, but I'm on here with like lots of fans, making
Yep.
lots of money, loving what I'm doing, and like, what the fuck? At the end of the day, if anything, I'll look down on them now. So,
Exactly. It all comes full circle at the end of the day. It all comes full circle, right?
oh, completely. It's funny how, like, and in saying that, Beyonce could send me a message and I would be like, not starstruck at all. But then, yeah, if I had a message from, Angela White, I'd be like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, like it's completely, it's funny how my perspective of who in my life is like, an idol or famous to me, I couldn't say in my vanilla job to anyone because they'd be like, what? Who's that? Well, they'd probably know, but
Well, first and foremost, I
wouldn't
think if
admit it.
well, yeah, if Angela White were to send you a message on DM, I think a lot of people would have that same reaction. To be
I
honest with
well, it's funny that you say that because I subscribed to her OnlyFans when I first
you.
started OnlyFans because I wanted to check out, see what was going on, and I did chat with her for a bit, so which was awesome, and like just wanted her because she's obviously Australian as well, and I was just like, and she was like one of the first sort of like first-ish curviest women that went into it and really changed like a lot there, which I find amazing. Which again, I had no idea who Angela White was. Let me just go back. Let me digress. So I was in my room camming, at the start of like my camp, like at the start of the year. So I had no idea who Angela White was. And people used to come in my room and they'd be like, "You remind me of Angela White," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." Like I had no idea what they were talking about. Then it happened a couple of times, and like more and more people kept saying it, and I was like, "What are they talking about?" Like I have no idea who's. So I decided to Google her, and I was like, "What the fuck? We don't look anything alike." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, so we both got big boobs." And then I watched her live on one of her shows. Like one of her cam shows that she does on OnlyFans, and I got it. Like it's the mannerism. We both like have that Australian, but we both also giggle and do this whole like, and some of the words that we say and the way that we talk about shit is exactly the same. And I was like, I get it now. I can see where people are like, why they say that I can remind them of her or whatever. And so it's a massive compliment. And so I reached out to her and just said, hey, like, I'm from Australia too. I had no idea who you were. No offense. I don't want you to feel offended by that, but you're amazing apart from the fact that you're fucking hot. And what you've done is amazing. But people used to come in my camera room and say that, I reminded them of you. And now I get it after watching the show. I don't think it's because of what we learned. And she's like, you are fucking hot. And yeah. And then I gave her like a free trial to my OnlyFans. So she actually subscribed to my OnlyFans just to have a
Yeah,
look.
all
So if
right.
you want to, I know. So she had a look. It was a free trial. I gave it to her. So don't think she just went and bloody subscribed to me. I wish. And it only, and then I think the trial finished or whatever, and that was it. But like that was a very good compliment, and I sort of was I was going to send it out to like, Twitter or whatever, because that would have been great promotion. But I thought, no, I'm not going to. It's not going to be like, it's not nice. So I said to her, look, hey, do you mind if I put this in? She's like, oh, everybody will want me to do it. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't make you, anything like to gain my own personal gain. But she's pretty cool. She's got that Aussie thing about her, and it's good to relate to somebody in the industry, if that makes sense. Even though completely different sort of industries, but yeah, same.
Oh, I hear you. And I mean, the comparison, the tie-ins and correlations, but I think that's also, and I'm going to speak as a male here in the States, Miss Jessica Jade. I think that's what a lot of us guys like as well. You got that international appeal with people and the women that do this, whether it be camming in the adult entertainment industry. There's that vibrancy. And as I said, I love women. It doesn't matter. I love women of all shapes and sizes. Does not matter to me. And especially the international feel and that appeal happens as well. So I think it also really exudes and accentuates your beauty and everything we like to encompass about you. It's that international appeal, man, that accent, whatever you got going on, the Australian vibes, if you will, like you so eloquently put it, man. It's that international appeal, Jessica.
Oh, it's so funny because, like the whole Australian thing is just like, people come in and be like, oh, I love your accent. And I'm like, oh, why? It sounds to me so bogan. And a bogan here is, I suppose, a way of saying redneck over there. Like it is like, I find our like accent like so bleh, the worst in the world. The people love it, and generally speaking, on a general scale, I have to say that like Americans love it the most. And yeah, it's funny because I can't see it at all. I'm like, God, if somebody come up to me and started talking to me in Australia, I'm like, get away. It's not attractive. How are you, cunt? G'day, cunt. It's not hot. And that is one of my favorite words, by the way, cunt, because I've got one and I know what kinds of things they can be. So
put that on a t-shirt. Okay, that was good.
Yes, I know it needs to be a Miss Jessica J t-shirt, doesn't it? Yeah, and I think the women have the more right to be saying it than men. So when men turn around and be like, "Oh, women should never say that," are you fucking kidding me, cunt? You don't have one. You don't know what kind of a thing it can be. So, anyway, that was a nice digression there.
No, okay. I'll be honest with you. That's actually a very valid argument. So well played.
Exactly right. Exactly right. We have to live with it for years, and every month it does something to us that's horrible. So, yes, that's when we know that it's a cunt.
Other thing I have to mention before I have you plug the social medias, and I have one final question after this. I got to say this because we discussed the term BBW, and I'll be honest with you. After a while, like after hearing the term, I'm just like, you know what? It's women it's women at the end of the day. Like, don't label, don't stigmatize. But here's the thing that I've always said: if you don't want to use BBW, I also use the term, and I'm going to say this right now. It kind of sounds a little bit better. WLW. You know what the initials WLW stand for, Miss Jessica Jade?
What is that?
That's a whole lot of women. WLW. That's a whole lot of women.
It's a whole lot of women. Yeah, there you go. That one's awesome. I love that.
All right. So yeah, use the hashtag WLW. A whole lot of women. There you
a
go.
whole lot of women. Yeah, that's right. And including my personality, there's a whole lot of women. I think we need a WWWL.
Triple dub L. Yes.
That'll be my next size that I go into.
Triple WL. I like that.
Yay.
Last question before I have you promote the social medias. Again, you've been a blast and an absolute pleasure to talk to. But I got to ask you, man, when it comes to camming, when it comes to what you do with modeling and everything that's encompassed in your overall profession, everything that you do with OnlyFans, Chatterbait, et cetera, I got to ask you because there's a lot of girls on the come up doing their thing. There's a lot of girls in the industry. As someone who's been doing their thing for a year on cam and doing it to the best of her abilities and doing what she does, looking as only as you can look, Jessica Jade, do you have any advice for anybody that gets into the camming industry, adult field? Do you have any advice for them who are on the come up?
I think just if it's really something that you want to do, really think about it. You've really got to really so go into it knowing that one day somebody that you know is going to find you. That it doesn't matter what you do. You can block, certain countries, certain fields, certain this, blah, blah, blah. You can do all of that. But at the end of the day, somebody, will randomly stumble across you. And you just don't know what this field is going to open up for you, where you're going to go in it. So just, like girls that want to do it, if you're just doing it because you want to try and make some extra money, like really think about like what you're doing. Me, I don't mind. I love the factor that everyone's going to see me. You Google me, you can Google Miss Jessica Jade, and you get images, and you'll see me everywhere. I love that, and I don't care. And everyone in my world knows what I do. And I just think, just do it because you love it. Don't think that you're going to go into it making a massive amount of money, because don't think about the money part of it. That'll come. That just comes. It's just do it because you enjoy it, and because you enjoy being watched, and because you enjoy giving something back to somebody and meeting all these amazing people. There are so many people in my room that I know, and like now they come in every single time, and on my OnlyFans, like like it's such an amazing world. And you just got to know what you're getting into. Just do your research. Make sure you know that you're going to be seen. Somebody that you know may see you. That is the biggest thing that I would tell anybody. Don't think that you can hide from people, because eventually someone will come across you. They'll see you and they'll know you. And, that's it. That's all I can say.
Well,
Really.
that was beautifully said, Miss Jessica Jade. And this is where I step back, because ladies first. It's not just a Queen Latifah song. Excuse me. Chivalry is not dead. Please promote where everybody can follow you, from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, OnlyFans, ChatterBait. You're on a whole lot of sites, and you're doing a whole lot of great work. Please promote these social medias. Go ahead.
Yay! So you can find me at Twitter at Miss Jessica Jade. Chatterbait is missjessicajade.com. That'll take you straight to my Chatterbait room, which I'm actually going to be online in the next hour and a half. And what else have I got? I've got Instagram, which is Miss Jessica Jade as well, at Miss Jessica Jade, but they generally kick me off because they don't like me very much. And that's it, really. So yeah, get on there, make sure you follow me, and say good day if you come into my room on Chatterbait. So go into Chatterbait and / Miss Jessica Jade, and you'll find me. Or you can just type in missjessicajade.com and you'll find me. Yay!
Links will be in the description below. And before we even close this out, I got to say this, man. Check out her pinned tweet, man. Happy Fuck My Face Friday, man. Everyone. I like that. Yes.
Yay! Yes, that's exactly right. Now, happy comings to everyone.
Okay, you see, I like that. Happy comings. You see, everything's a trend, and it's cool, and it's a little quip, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? It makes it vibrant for the day, and you know what I'm saying? You actually put a lot of good energy. Dare I say, sexual energy each and every day. I like that. I like your style.
Yes, got to do it. Make sure come a day keeps the doctor away.
Keeps the doctor. Okay, you see, this is why I love you. So anyway, I digress. First and foremost, you can follow the show, on SoundCloud.com. So it's MC Larkin92, StephenMikeShow.com, SM Show1 on the Twitter machine, or MCL92. Check this out also on YouTube on Andre Corbeils and yours truly, WrestlingWhatWrestling.com. The YouTube, check it out. That'll be on all forms of social media. Man, Jessica Jade, you are one of the most delightful, most blunt, most honest, and most beautiful human beings, and an absolute delight. And I'm going to say this right now, as I always do: beauty, straight, the dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And I include you in those sentiments. I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been an absolute privilege. And thank you so much for your time tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to be on next. Yay!
Yay. We'll end it on a yay. For Jessica J, my name is Mike Larkin. I'm going to hit you with a yay, because it's exciting times. We're completing an interview. We're talking. Yay! Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yay! Bye.